My mother demanded I hand over half my $2 million inheritance to my golden sister or be disowned forever. So I left without argument, built a $50 million empire, and when she came crawling back broke I sent her a copy of her ultimatum text and hung up. Welcome back, beautiful people. Before we begin, subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. We love seeing this community grow worldwide. The text came at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. My phone lit up with Mom's name and my stomach already knew something was wrong. We need to talk. Tomorrow. 2 p.m. Don't be late. I stared at those words, my silk pillowcase cool against my cheek, feeling that old familiar dread creep up my spine. I just buried Grandma Rose 3 weeks earlier. The woman who raised me when Mom was too busy raising my sister Brittany like a prize show dog. Grandma's lawyer had called me that morning with news that still felt unreal. $2 million. Everything she'd saved, invested, protected, all mine. She wanted you to have security, Mr. Harrison had said, his voice gentle through the phone. She was very specific about that. I hadn't told Mom yet. Hadn't told anyone except my best friend Dolores, who'd screamed so loud through FaceTime I had to pull the phone away from my ear. But somehow Mom knew. She always knew when there was money involved. I arrived at Mom's house the next day, my hands shaking slightly as I gripped the steering wheel. The house looked the same as always. Pristine lawn, perfect shutters, the kind of suburban respectability Mom had fought her whole life to achieve. Brittany's BMW was already in the driveway, shining like it had just rolled off the lot. Inside they were waiting. Mom sat in her usual chair, back straight, lips pressed thin. Brittany lounged on the sofa, scrolling her phone, diamonds glittering on her wrist. Another gift from her husband's family money. Sit down, Mom said, not looking at me. We need to discuss your grandmother's will. Growing up, I learned early that love in our house came with conditions. Brittany was 3 years younger but might as well have been royalty. Her room, decorated like a princess suite. Mine, hand-me-down furniture and walls that needed painting. Her closet, bursting with designer labels. Mine, thrift store finds and Walmart basics. Why does Brittany get new shoes again? I'd asked Mom when I was 12, staring at my too tight sneakers that pinched my toes. Because she takes care of her things, Mom had replied, not looking up from folding Brittany's new dresses. Maybe if you were more responsible. I'd worn those shoes until my feet bled. I never asked again. The favoritism wasn't subtle. It was a family religion. When Brittany made B's, Mom celebrated with dinner out. When I made straight A's, I got a nod, and that's expected. Brittany got a car at 16. I got a bus pass, and you need to learn the value of hard work. But Grandma Rose saw everything. She lived in the converted garage apartment behind our house, a sanctuary I'd escaped to after particularly brutal days. She'd make me sweet tea and cornbread, let me cry, then dry my tears with her soft, wrinkled hands. Baby girl, your mama's hurting, she'd tell me. Hurt people. But you got something special inside you. Something nobody can take away. She'd been my lifeline. My everything. And now she was gone. So you've been hiding your inheritance from us? Brittany's voice cut through my memories, sharp and accusatory. She finally looked up from her phone, her perfectly microbladed eyebrows raised in judgment. I wasn't hiding anything, I said carefully. I literally just found out. $2 million. Mom's voice was ice. That's what my mother left you. The silence that followed Mom's words felt like a physical weight. I watched her face, looking for some crack in that cold exterior, some hint of the mother I desperately wanted her to be. Nothing. It's not fair, Brittany whined, actually pouting like a child. Grandma lived in our house. We took care of her. We fed her, gave her a place to live. She paid rent, I interrupted, my voice stronger than I felt. Every month. I saw the checks. Don't interrupt your sister, Mom snapped. Her eyes finally met mine, and what I saw there chilled me. Calculation. Pure cold calculation. This family has always worked as a unit. We share everything. That money should be divided equally between you girls. My laugh came out bitter. When have we ever shared equally? When have I ever gotten equal anything in this family? Here we go, Brittany rolled her eyes dramatically. Poor Felicia, always playing the victim. Mom literally raised you, fed you, clothed you. With the bare minimum while you got everything you pointed at. The words exploded out of me before I could stop them. Years of swallowed hurt came bubbling up. I'm not blind. I never was. Mom's hand slammed on the coffee table, making us both jump. Enough. I didn't raise you to be selfish and ungrateful. Your grandmother was my mother. That money came from my family. And you will do the right thing. The right thing. I repeated slowly. What exactly are you asking me to do? Mom stood up, walked to where I sat and looked down at me with eyes like flint. You'll give Brittany half. $1 million. It's only fair, she's struggling with the new baby coming. Philip's business hasn't taken off yet. Philip's business that his parents gave him $200,000 to start? The words tasted like ash. You'll give your sister half, Mom repeated, her voice dropping to that dangerous quiet that meant the discussion was over. Or you can leave this family. Forever. I sat frozen, my brain struggling to process what I'd just heard. Disownment. She was threatening to disown me over money she had no legal claim to. Money my grandmother specifically left to me and only me. You're joking, I whispered. Tell me you're joking, Mom. Do I look like I'm joking? Her face was stone. This is about family. About loyalty. About not being a selfish brat who forgets where she came from. Brittany was nodding along, playing with her phone again. The casualness of it all made me want to scream. This was my life, my future, my grandmother's final gift to me, and they were treating it like a negotiation over restaurant choices. I need time to think, I said, standing up on shaky legs. You have 24 hours, Mom said. Then I want to see a transfer confirmation for $1 million to Brittany's account. She pulled out her phone, typed something, and mine buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out with trembling hands. She'd texted me Brittany's bank information. Account number, routing number, everything. Below it she'd written, "Family comes first. Don't disappoint me again. You have until tomorrow at 2 p.m. to do the right thing or don't bother coming back. You'll be dead to me and everyone in this family. Choose wisely." I stared at those words until they blurred. And if I don't? Mom's smile was cold. Then you're not my daughter anymore. You'll be cut off completely. No more family dinners, no holidays, no contact with anyone. I'll make sure your aunts, your cousins, everyone knows what a selfish, ungrateful person you really are. You'll be alone. The threat landed like she meant it to. I'd already lost Grandma. Now she was threatening to take everyone else too. My chest felt tight, my throat closing up. I need to go, I managed to say. 24 hours, Mom called after me as I stumbled toward the door. Make the right choice. I drove to Dolores's apartment in a daze, tears streaming down my face so hard I had to pull over twice. By the time I knocked on her door I was a mess. Mascara running, hands shaking, barely able to breathe. Jesus, Felicia. Dolores pulled me inside, wrapped me in her arms, let me sob into her shoulder for what felt like hours. Her apartment smelled like vanilla candles and the curry she'd been cooking, comforting and familiar. When I could finally speak, the whole story poured out. She's insane, Dolores said flatly when I finished, handing me another tissue. You know that, right? This is literally insane. But she's my mom, I whispered. What if she's right? What if I'm being selfish? Brittany is pregnant and Philip's business. Stop. Dolores grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to meet her eyes. Listen to me. Your grandma left that money to you. She could have split it. She could have left something for Brittany. He didn't. That was her choice, Felicia. Her final choice. And your mom is trying to manipulate you into disrespecting that. I knew she was right. Deep down I knew. But the scared little girl inside me, the one who'd spent her whole life trying to earn crumbs of her mother's love, was screaming that I couldn't lose her. Not now. Not when I'd already lost Grandma. My phone buzzed. Another text from Mom. Clock's ticking. Don't be stupid. Then Brittany. Mom's serious, Felicia. Just do it. Why are you being so difficult? Then my Aunt Carmen. Your mother told me what's happening. I'm very disappointed in you. Family is everything. The texts kept coming, a coordinated attack. They'd mobilized the whole family against me in less than 3 hours. They're going to destroy me, I said quietly, watching my phone light up again and again. I turned my phone off at 8 p.m. that night and didn't turn it back on for 3 days. Those 72 hours felt like dying slowly. I called in sick to my job at the marketing firm, stayed in my tiny apartment, and thought about everything Grandma Rose had ever told me. On the second day I dug out the letters. Grandma had written me letters every year on my birthday since I was 10, sealed them, told me to keep them somewhere safe. I'd stored them in a box under my bed, never thinking much about it. Now with shaking hands I opened them all. The earliest one from my 10th birthday read, "My sweet Felicia, you shine so bright already. Don't let anybody dim that light. Not even family. Especially not family." The one from my 16th birthday, "I'm leaving you something special one day. Not because I love you more than your sister, but because I know you'll honor what I've worked for. You'll build something real with it. You've got that hunger in you, the good kind. The kind that builds instead of takes." The most recent one, written just 6 months before she died. "When you read this, I'll be gone. And you'll have a choice to make. I pray you choose yourself, baby girl. Choose freedom. Choose your future. They'll try to guilt you. Don't let them. You deserve every penny, and more than that, you deserve to fly." I sobbed reading those words, Grandma's handwriting shaky but determined. She'd known. She'd always known what would happen. On the morning of the third day I made my decision. I opened my laptop and drafted an email to Mom, Brittany, and everyone else they'd recruited to harass me. My hands were steady now, my mind clear. I will not be giving Brittany any portion of my inheritance. This was Grandma Rose's decision and I'm honoring it. I'm deeply hurt by the ultimatum, the manipulation, and the cruelty. But I understand your position. Please respect mine. I love you all, but I can't sacrifice my future for your approval. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. The response was immediate and brutal. Within an hour I was blocked on everything. Phone, social media, email. My aunt sent one final message before blocking me. "You've made your choice. Don't come crawling back when you realize what you've lost." But the thing about hitting rock bottom is that there's nowhere to go but up. And I had $2 million, a sharp mind, and a lifetime of suppressed ambition ready to explode. I met with 3 financial advisors that week. The third one, a black woman named Patricia who'd built her own firm from nothing, looked at my situation and smiled. "You want to know what I see? Freedom, money. Your grandmother gave you the power to become whoever you want to be. So who do you want to be?" That question kept me up all night. Who did I want to be? Not the grateful daughter begging for scraps. Not the forgotten sister watching from the sidelines. Not the woman who gave up her dreams because someone demanded it. I wanted to be powerful, successful, untouchable. I'd worked in marketing for 6 years, watching other people build brands, knowing I could do it better. I'd spent countless nights sketching business ideas in notebooks I hid from everyone, dreams I was too scared to voice. Not anymore. I took $200,000 of the inheritance and invested it into starting my own marketing and branding agency. I focused on what I knew best, helping small Black-owned businesses scale up, giving them the professional polish that bigger companies used to dominate. I worked 18-hour days, slept 4 hours a night, lived on coffee and determination. The first year was brutal. I lost clients, made mistakes, cried in my car more times than I could count. But I also landed 3 major contracts, hired my first employee, and moved into a real office space. Year 2, I doubled my revenue. Year 3, I expanded into brand consulting and digital strategy, hired a team of 12, and started getting noticed. By year 4, my company was valued at $15 million. Success has a way of silencing critics. As my company exploded, the whispers started. I'd see former family friends in coffee shops, watch their eyes widen when they recognized me from the business articles. The local Black business magazine put me on their cover. From inheritance to empire, how Felicia built a marketing powerhouse. I didn't do it for revenge. I want to be clear about that. I did it because when you've spent your whole life being told you're not enough, proving to yourself that you are becomes an addiction. Every new client, every successful campaign, every dollar earned was proof that Grandma Rose had been right about me. My team grew to 40 employees. We opened a second office across the country. Fortune 500 companies started calling. I bought a house with a real garden, not the cramped apartment where I used to cry myself to sleep. I drove a car that didn't make strange noises. I wore clothes that fit properly and weren't on clearance. But the strangest part? I wasn't angry anymore. Somewhere between year 4 and year 5, the bitterness had burned away, leaving behind something stronger: indifference. Mom and Brittany became characters in a story I used to tell, not current wounds that bled. Dolores, now my company's CEO, would sometimes ask if I missed them. Sometimes I missed the idea of them, I'd say. But not the reality. Never the reality. Then came the acquisition offer. A major marketing conglomerate wanted to buy my company. The number they put on the table made my hands shake. $50 million. 50 million. I called Patricia, my financial advisor, who'd become a mentor and friend. She actually laughed when I told her. Your grandmother left you $2 million. You turned it into 50. Baby girl, you didn't just honor her legacy. You exploded it into the stratosphere. We negotiated for 3 months. The final deal, $52 million, with me staying on as CEO of my division for 3 years, full creative control and profit sharing. I signed the papers on a Thursday afternoon, walked out of the lawyer's office, sat in my car, and finally let myself feel it. Pride. Pure, uncomplicated pride. The text came exactly 7 years and 2 months after Mom's ultimatum. Unknown number, but I knew that area code. It was from back home. Against my better judgment, I opened it. Felicia, this is your mother. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I'm asking, begging, for you to call me. It's important. Please. My finger hovered over the delete button. 7 years of silence and now this. But something in the tone, the desperation bleeding through even text, made me hesitate. I showed it to Dolores. It's a trap, she said immediately. Block the number. What if someone's dead? I asked. What if? Then someone else can tell you. Felicia, these people cut you out completely. Radio silence for 7 years. Now suddenly it's important? Come on. He was right. I knew she was right. But that old, scared part of me, the little girl who desperately wanted her mother's love, wouldn't let me delete it. Instead, I saved the number under Mom, with a question mark, and left it unanswered. 3 days later, another text. Please, Felicia. Brittany told me about your company. About the sale. I'm so proud of you, baby. Your grandmother would be so proud. Please call. We need to talk. The mention of Grandma made my blood boil. She didn't get to use Grandma Rose's memory now after everything. I blocked the number. But they were persistent. The calls came from different numbers. Aunt Carmen, numbers I didn't recognize, even Brittany herself. I blocked them all. Then came the email that got through because it was from an address I'd never seen. Email protected. The subject line, please read, it's about Mom. I opened it against every instinct. The message was from Brittany. Felicia, I know you probably hate me. I don't blame you. But Mom is sick. Really sick. Stage 4 cancer. She's been fighting it for 8 months, and the doctors say she has maybe 3 to 6 months left. She's completely broke. Treatment wiped out her savings, her retirement, everything. I can't help her. Philip left me 2 years ago. I'm working 2 jobs just to keep a roof over my kids' heads. Please. She keeps asking for you. I didn't respond to Brittany's email for 2 weeks. During that time, I tried to convince myself I felt nothing. That the woman who'd given me an ultimatum, who'd chosen money over her own daughter, meant nothing to me now. But late at night, alone in my beautiful house, I'd think about her dying. Dying broke, apparently. Dying alone, asking for me. And despite everything, despite the years of favoritism, the cruelty, the disownment, I couldn't ignore it completely. You don't owe her anything, Patricia reminded me over lunch. Not a visit, not money, not forgiveness. Nothing. I know, I said, pushing salad around my plate. But what if I regret not going? What if she dies and I spend the rest of my life wondering what she would have said? Maybe she would have apologized. Maybe she would have asked for money. Maybe both. Patricia reached across the table, squeezed my hand. But whatever you decide, make sure you're doing it for you. Not for her. Not for some fantasy of the mother you wish she'd been. I drove to the hospital on a Saturday morning, telling no one where I was going. The building was old, one of the county facilities where people with no insurance ended up. The hallways smelled like disinfectant and defeat. Room 412. I stood outside the door for 10 minutes, my heart hammering, before I finally knocked. "Come in," a weak voice called. I almost didn't recognize her. Mom had always been proud of her appearance. Hair perfect, makeup flawless, clothes pressed and coordinated. The woman in that bed looked like a ghost. Thin, so thin her collarbones jutted out sharply. No wig to cover the hair loss. Skin ashy and papery. But her eyes were the same. "Felicia." She struggled to sit up, wincing. "Oh my God. Felicia, you came. You actually came." I stood in the doorway, unable to move closer. "Brittany said you wanted to see me." Tears started streaming down her hollow cheeks. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "Baby, I'm so sorry." I pulled a chair to her bedside but kept my distance, a buffer of space that felt necessary. Mom watched me with hungry eyes, like she was trying to memorize my face. In that moment she looked less like the woman who'd terrorized my childhood and more like a scared, dying stranger. "You look good," she said hoarsely. "Healthy. Successful. I read about you. Your company. $52 million. She said it with something like wonder. "My daughter, the CEO. I should have known you'd make something of yourself. You always had that drive." The compliment felt hollow, wrong. Like eating expired food that looked fine but tasted off. "You didn't ask me here to congratulate me," I said quietly. "What do you want, Mom?" She flinched at my tone, closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them again, fresh tears spilled over. "I want to apologize. Really apologize. For everything. For the way I treated you growing up. For choosing Brittany over you every single time. For that ultimatum." Her voice cracked on the last word. "God, Felicia, I was so wrong. So unbelievably wrong." I sat perfectly still, feeling nothing and everything at once. "Why?" The question came out raw. "Why did you hate me so much? What did I do to make you?" "I never hated you," she interrupted urgently, then started coughing, deep rattling coughs that shook her whole body. When she finally stopped, her lips had a blue tinge. "I was jealous of you. Jealous." I almost laughed. "Of what?" "Of everything," she whispered. "Of how smart you were, how determined. You were so much like my mother, and I always felt like I disappointed her. Like I wasn't good enough. And then there you were, this perfect granddaughter who could do no wrong in Rose's eyes. Every time she praised you, it felt like she was criticizing me. So I punished you for it. I made your life hell because I was a bitter, insecure woman who couldn't stand that her mother loved you better." The confession hung in the air between us, heavy and poisonous. I thought I'd want to hear this, that an explanation would bring closure. Dad, I felt sick. All those years of suffering because she couldn't handle her own mother's affection for me? "And Brittany?" asked, my voice hard. "Why build her up just to tear me down?" Mom looked away, ashamed. "Brittany looked like me. Acted like me. She was easy to love because she was an extension of myself. Narcissistic, I know. But you were different. And I was terrified you'd leave me behind, show everyone how inadequate I was as a mother. So I tried to break you down first, keep you small and manageable. But Rose wouldn't let me. She protected you, built you up, and I hated her for it even as I loved her." The machines beeped steadily, marking time we didn't have. "The ultimatum," I said. "Tell me the truth about that." She nodded weakly. "I was broke even then. Had been for years. Made bad investments, kept up appearances I couldn't afford. When Rose died and left everything to you, I panicked. I convinced myself I deserved that money more than you did. That I'd sacrificed my relationship with my mother to raise you, so you owed me. Brittany was having marriage problems, Philip's business was failing. It all just snowballed. And when you refused..." She trailed off. "You cut me out completely. Poison the whole family against me. Yes, she breathed. Because if I couldn't have the money, I could at least have the moral high ground. Or so I thought. Turned out nobody cared. Brittany's husband left anyway. The family drifted apart. And I ended up here, alone and dying, while you became everything Rose always said you would be. I stood up abruptly, my chair scraping harshly against the floor. Is that why you wanted me here? To confess? To die with a clear conscience? No. Her hand shot out, grabbing my wrist with surprising strength. I wanted to see you. To tell you I was wrong. To ask. She stopped and I saw it then. The calculation behind the tears. The same cold look I remembered from that day 7 years ago. To ask for money, I finished for her, pulling my wrist free. That's what this is really about, isn't it? Mom's face crumpled and for a moment I saw genuine shame there. I have nothing, Felicia. No insurance, no savings. This hospital is going to bankrupt what little I have left and then I'll be on the street to die. Brittany's drowning in her own problems. 2 kids, 2 jobs, barely making rent. I have nobody. You're my only hope. There was the real reason for the tears, the apology, the confession. Not genuine remorse. Desperation. I felt something inside me crystallize into perfect, cold clarity. I pulled out my phone, opened my text messages and found the screenshot I'd taken 7 years ago. Mom's ultimatum, preserved for eternity. Family comes first. Don't disappoint me again. You have until tomorrow at 2 p.m. to do the right thing or don't bother coming back. You'll be dead to me and everyone in this family. Choose wisely. I turned the screen toward her. Do you remember this? Her eyes widened, then filled with tears again. Felicia, please. You told me I'd be dead to you, I said quietly, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. You chose money over me. You didn't call when I graduated with my MBA. When I started my company. When I hit my first $1 million in revenue. 7 years, Mom. 7 years of absolute silence. And now, when you're the one who needs money, suddenly I'm your daughter again. I know it's hypocritical, she sobbed, reaching for me. I stepped back. I came here because I needed to see you one last time. To understand if there was anything worth saving in our relationship. And you know what I learned? She looked at me with terrified, desperate eyes. You haven't changed at all. You're still the same person who valued money more than your own child. The apology was just another manipulation. Everything you said, about being jealous, about being wrong, that was just a script to get what you wanted. Again. I forwarded her that old text message to her current number. I'm sending this to you as a reminder. You made me choose between your love and my future. I chose my future. Now I'm making that same choice again. Felicia, please. She tried to get out of bed, but her weakened body couldn't support her. Don't leave me like this. I'm dying. I'm your mother. I paused at the door, my hand on the frame. For just a second, I felt the weight of that little girl inside me, still hoping for something that never existed. But then I remembered Grandma Rose's letters, her final message to choose myself, and I found my strength. You stopped being my mother the day you gave me that ultimatum, I said softly. You taught me that family is conditional. That love has a price. I learned that lesson well. Now you get to experience what that feels like from the other side. Her screams followed me down the hospital corridor, desperate, anguished, raw. Nurses rushed past me toward her room. I kept walking, my vision blurring with tears I wouldn't let fall until I reached my car. 6 months later, I received a call from Brittany. Mom had died. Alone in that hospital, still broke, still angry. Brittany said her last words were my name, crying it over and over. She asked if I'd come to the funeral. I didn't. Instead, I sat in Grandma Rose's old rocking chair, the one piece of furniture I'd kept from her apartment, and read her letters again. The last line of her final letter stayed with me. Some people will drain you dry and call it love. Don't let them, baby. Real love builds you up. Everything else is just pretty poison. My company recently crossed $200 million in annual revenue. I established a scholarship fund in Grandma Rose's name for young Black women starting businesses. Every cent I give away is a middle finger to the woman who tried to take my future from me. People ask if I regret my choice. If I feel guilty. The truth? Some nights I do. I think about that woman dying alone calling my name. I wonder if I could have been the bigger person, if mercy would have been stronger than revenge. But then I remember that I didn't choose revenge. I chose self-preservation. I chose to honor the woman who actually loved me unconditionally. I chose freedom. And that's a choice I'll make again every single time. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever had to choose between toxic family and your own well-being, drop a comment below. You're not alone. And remember, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. If you want more real stories about setting boundaries and choosing yourself, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Your future self will thank you.